Howdy folks, welcome to another episode of The Long Ride. My name is Rachel McIntyre Smith. I'm a singer-songwriter creating a career for myself in the music industry by following Malcom Gladwell's 10,000 hour rule. I started following the 10,000 hour rule on January 1st, 2020, and since then I put in 3,567 hours. Since my last update in January of 2022, I put in 1,274 hours, and those hours have been spent writing, recording, producing, releasing, and promoting my debut EP, Glory Daze, which came out on September 30th. So if you haven't heard Glory Daze yet, you can go check that out. Click this link right here. Here are my updated statistics. On Facebook, I have 685 followers. On Twitter, I have 459 followers. On Instagram, I have 1,887 followers. On Spotify, I have 664 followers. On YouTube, I have 302 subscribers. On TikTok, I have 5,853 followers, and my email list has 68 folks on it. Now for the highlights of 2022. Releasing my first ever full-length project was a really interesting experience, but it was also a really difficult one because of the financial side of things. I don't have any label, I don't have an investor, I'm an independent artist, so I pay for all of my stuff for music out of pocket, and I work full-time still. And so in order to pay for the recording process, my radio promoter, my publicist, and everything that I needed in order to promote and properly release my album, I had to move home, back in with my parents, back in my hometown. I still work 2 hours away in Chattanooga, so my lifestyle completely changed because I previously lived in Chattanooga full-time. I have to drive back and forth. I have family that lives in Chattanooga that's really awesome. It lets me stay with them a few nights a week so that I can save money on rent because rent is absolutely ridiculous. Since I was driving so much, I also had my car wrapped with an advertisement on it so that I could get paid while I was driving back and forth so much. I'm so grateful for my parents for letting me live here and for my family for letting me stay with them in Chattanooga a few nights a week. Through being able to save money through that and through my other little side hustles that I've been doing, I was able to pay for all of my expenses for music without going into debt, and I was able to maintain full creative control as well as ownership of my debut EP. Now that that's out of the way, the fun stuff around creating my first ever project. Coming up with the visuals for the overall EP was a lot different than my past experiences with releasing singles because I wanted the cover art and the visuals throughout the whole thing to be consistent and to be cohesive. And I also had like a $0 budget. So my mom and I ended up taking all of these photos ourselves. I got my first ever tangible CDs. I was able to design all the different parts of this, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. So these are still available on my website if you want to grab one of them, but I lost my mind whenever I picked them up. I got a CD! I was featured in my first ever Spotify editorial playlist. Glory Daze was featured on Fresh Finds Country, and then it was also added to the Best of 2022 Fresh Finds Country playlist. And whenever I first got the email that it had been added to a playlist, I completely freaked out. I was in line at Panera Bread getting a green tea, and
I'm shaking.
I just started shaking because it's been a goal of mine for so long. And I got up to the window, and that guy probably thought it was so crazy. I was just freaking out so much. He was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No, I just got featured on my first ever Spotify editorial playlist." And then he's like, "Cool, here's your green tea." I called everybody that I knew. I was so excited.
I got an email saying that I was added to my first ever Spotify editorial playlist.
What?
Yes!
What?
Yes!
Oh my god!
I had a few videos go semi-viral on TikTok and Instagram Reels for Glory Daze, and because of that, over 500 user-generated playlists were created that featured my music, and it was so fun to go on the back end of Spotify and see the different playlist titles. They were so unhinged. It was just my sense of humor. Another huge pinch me moment of 2022 was when my favorite YouTuber Grady Smith started sharing my music on his channel. He even included Glory Daze in his roundup of best country music of 2022.
What a pretty song. The vocal on it's amazing. I respect the hustle that she has, and You know, she's made a little video for it, and I mean, I can't always listen to everything people send me, but sometimes I just hear one and it catches me off guard and I go ham on that song, and that was certainly the case with Glory Daze.
Another one of my favorite YouTubers, Overshore, featured The Woods on his Best Country Music of 2022 video.
As of late, Rachel has started making some small ripples online, and although everyone's been clinging to Glory Daze, and rightfully so, The Woods was the one that always stuck to me thanks to its catchy chorus and equally great writing.
Another crazy moment of 2022 was when I found out that Glory Daze was being played on BBC Radio in Ireland.
I found it recently. I think it was on Instagram. It was shared by a music journalist that I rate quite highly, a guy called Grady Smith. Honestly, he puts me onto some artists that I'm just otherwise unaware of, and that is the greatest gift of all in music, I think. Hearing somebody that, you know, that's new and that you immediately connect with. So I found this girl that way. Her name is Rachel McIntyre Smith.
Another big first for me was I launched my first ever Americana and non-commercial radio campaign with my song The Woods. At the end of 2022, it had been ranked 90 on the national chart, so that was really exciting for me. And that was also a huge undertaking, a huge process, because we had to send out CDs to so many stations, and I had the brilliant, horrible idea to write handwritten letters personalized to every single station, and we had so many things to send out, so it took so long. My hand hurt so bad from doing it, but I just wanted to add that little extra personal touch to make them know, like, I know that I don't have a huge budget, I don't have a huge label behind me, but I really care about this and I really appreciate that you took the chance to listen to it. So hopefully, I think that it's paying off, and The Woods right now is at number 90, and that's a huge win for me since this is my first ever campaign. So who knows, maybe it's the handwritten letters, or maybe it's the music, I don't know. I'm just gonna tell myself that the letters had something to do with it because it was a huge undertaking to do all that. But my parents helped out with it, I wrangled in Chelsea, my cousins helped with it, so that was a huge team project. So shout out to all the people who helped me with that. A lot of publications that I've looked up to for a long time interviewed me or featured my music or reviewed my music, and that was just really surreal and really cool for me. And I was just absolutely floored by the number of people that had nice things to write about me. And then going into that, so many kind DMs, comments, people telling me how much they resonated with the music. It just really touched me so much that something that I created was reaching people and people were actually listening to it. So if you're someone that sent me a DM, that wrote a comment, I just appreciate y'all so much, and I hope that you stick around because I am not planning on slowing down in 2023. I have a lot of plans. I'm going to be posting a lot more here on YouTube, so let me know what sort of content would you like to see on here, what sort of covers, what sort of music, what sort of things you want to know about me. And as always, if you're here for the long ride, like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye.